So this story starts with a really interesting warehouse. So I was going to this warehouse to do some work over the span of a couple weeks, doing some a camera job or so. A lot of cameras, a lot of long wire runs, and we weren't working for many hours a day. The dude wasn't gonna have the business ready for a while. So it was basically just something that we'd stop by for 30 minutes to an hour every day just to like do something and then come back later, which means I was there on and off for basically the entirety of like a month. Going there, I saw a lot of interesting things. Like the guy who rents out the other half is really into cars. He's in the automotive space. Uh, the first thing I ever noticed when I got there was actually a Civic, and I mean completely ratted out Civic. I mean, no seats, no steering wheel, no headlight. Doesn't even have an engine. That's like superior weight loss right there. The only thing that was left in that car, other than maybe the headliner, was a deck in the back. I can't remember if it was some by nines or if it was like for like 8 inch or 10 inch subwoofers. It was an interesting looking thing. I don't know exactly the size. It seems bigger than just some six and a halves, but whatever the case was, they had a speaker box in there, and that's the last thing that was left on that poor ass car. But some other things that I recognized when I was around there was they had an Impreza out in the lot. Not sure if it was an STI or not. And throughout the final weeks of me working there, they also pulled up a Mustang GT. It was an auto GT, a auto V8 drop top. Didn't even know they made them. If I'm wrong and they didn't exist, then someone in the comments please tell me that I'm wrong. I'm really into the new Edge Mustangs, but I don't know all the logistics about like which ones were made and weren't. I just know I wanted one. So anyway, but I also peeped inside the little warehouse. They had a CRX in there with some pretty rims on it and what looked to be like a Hyundai Tucson or something in the back. I couldn't really tell. But the real thing that actually caught my eye was the Galaga cabinet. Now, the Galaga cabinet immediately caught my eye, not because I was around during arcade times, because of course I was born in 2007. I'm a baby. I don't know anything about arcades, but I recognize the game because I always used to play the games on my computer when I was younger. I was always playing Pac-Man. I was playing Donkey Kong. So growing up now, when I saw that sitting around, I was like, hold on a minute. Now, mind you, I'm familiar with Arcade 1 Up. I never did any crazy research on it, but I was very familiar with it because I'd see it occasionally and I'd see it in people's businesses and I'd be like, that's a dope ass arcade. Now, I looked at the prices, I wasn't willing to spend that money on it, but the thing about my brain is if I put work into it and spend a little less money, it's more valuable than if I just buy it for the amount that my labor was worth. At least that's how my logic works, right? So I got this thing and I was waiting for the tenant to show up because it's rented out to two people. There's a part on the side of the warehouse that this guy is renting out of now, and throughout the span of these couple weeks, I'm waiting for the guy to pop up so I can ask him about it. And dude I was doing the work for, I asked him to ask him about it. I don't think he ever did that, but that's besides the point. So a lot of more weeks there. I stopped by the Queen's Staircase. I found out that they were just hoarding appliances and they were playing Tetris with stoves and dryers and some stupid drawing on the drywall. Um, Some guy fell through a roof there. He's a pretty big guy. The hole that he made is the size of him, so you can imagine. Um, I don't blame him though. I mean, it is a pretty rough thing up there. Like they have a lot of like creaky wood, and like you can't really tell what's wood and what's drywall because it all kind of looks the same, But whatever. Let's just say it wasn't a pretty fall. Oh, poor guy. But I was finally able to get my hands on the thing after taking a picture of it in June. I was able to get my hands on it after the guy said I could have it in early July. I was able to get it in early August. And that's because I ended up traveling and then there were a lot of things happening in that month. But in early August, I was able to get my hands on it. I took it out, brought it outside the gate. I put it inside the car and we drove it to Garvin at Bucks Records because, well, I have a lot of BS in the house and it's going to be pretty hard to convince my mom to let me keep a damn arcade machine that wasn't even working. So I kept it out by the record shop for a couple months. I had to sleep there up until tonight. Today I finally got it. But that's getting ahead of myself. It slept at the record shop and I bought a power supply for it because in my head I was just like, well, the first way we'll see if anything's wrong with this is to fucking plug it in and see if it works. I got the power supply. I went there to go see if it worked. And let's just say Garvin ripped off the back of it while I was gone because it was rotting, and they did not have SHIT in the thing. When I say nothing, I mean there was not a main board. There was, well, I mean the main board is the only thing that's really ever in there other than this playlist. It was naked inside, it was very naked. And I went home that day and I had a really big crossroads because I didn't know whether I was going to, I didn't know whether I was gonna say it's probably not worth it because the display probably doesn't even work, or whether I was just gonna say, "What's $200?" and then buy a 60-in-1 Jamma conversion and a display driver. As you can tell, I chose the latter. Came in this afternoon after I finished mowing my lawn. Got it delivered. Surprise, actually, because Garvin said he wasn't gonna be able to make it because he had some car troubles, and he just dropped it off. So that arrived this afternoon, and I immediately got to work. I took a shower after mowing the lawn, ate a little bit of food, well, snacked a little bit. Then I sat down, basically straight from, let's just say, 5 o'clock, 5:30, maybe 6 o'clock, up until around 8:45, and I worked on it. I got the display board in, I got the JAMA board in, I got the power supply in, I drilled the new holes for the buttons. I was following this guy's tutorial. I think his name was like uh, Donkey Kong OG, DKOG, and then like the year he was born, DKOG 73. I believe that was the channel. He did a tutorial on it. I couldn't follow it directly, and there were definitely some things I had to go look other sources for because me and him weren't in the exact same predicament. Especially considering that no one else really I've seen do a JAMA conversion on a Galaga cabinet. Unfortunately, everyone's doing it to Donkey Kong cabinets and Street Fighter cabinets and um, Pac-Man, Miss Pac-Man, all of those. I haven't seen any done for Galaga, so I had to step out and do it myself, figure it out, and I figured it out. I damn did. You know what I mean? I got everything wired up. I went inside the test settings. I mean, whatever it was when you hit the dip switch, so I could enable free play. And now I'm sitting here with this thing in the corner of my bedroom, and I can play whatever arcade game I want. I wonder when it's actually gonna hit that I have a damn arcade in my bedroom.